So full-time at Emirates Stadium, Arsenal 0, Barcelona 4. Not an entirely unexpected scoreline, to be fair, but no less disappointing. On the performance, it's actually really difficult to gauge how well you've played when you play a team like Barcelona, because they're just so much better than everyone else, not just Arsenal. Just a reminder that they beat Chelsea 4-0 in last year's Champions League final, so they really can do this to anyone. And Arsenal started the game quite strongly and defended pretty well. Barcelona had plenty of possession but weren't really getting in behind, but then big mix-up between Jem Beattie and Steph Catley at centre-half really gave a goal away for Barcelona, and from there you're never going to get back into the game, and frankly they would have found a way to score anyway, but to concede a goal like that, pretty disappointing. Jonas Eidevall quite chipper in his post-match press conference, actually gave some really long, detailed tactical answers about Barcelona's counter-pressing and how quick they are to make decisions and how quick they are to close the ball down when they lose it and then to get the ball in behind. And he was kind of saying that's the next phase in the development of this Arsenal team, when they win the ball back, how quickly they move it, how quickly they make the right decisions. And he was talking as well about how 9 of those Barcelona players play for the Spanish national team as well. And so when they go away for international breaks, they're playing together and they're playing exactly the same football, whereas Arsenal players going away with their countries playing different football in different parts of the world. And he was talking about how that's kind of accelerated Barcelona's maturity as well. I asked him a couple of questions, as I usually do. So I asked him about the starting lineup. Sprung a little bit of a surprise with Caitlin Ford playing ahead of Vivian Miedema up front, and he had Nikita Paris out wide and Jordan Nobbs behind them. And I asked him if he was going for kind of his most physical and his quickest team, to which he kind of said yes. He felt like both defensively off the ball that was the best team to pick, but he also felt that Arsenal were going to have to do things quickly when they did get the ball, and he felt that was the best combination of players. He also started Steph Catley at centre-back, and I asked him about that, and he said that he wanted a left-footer at centre-half, and Arsenal don't have any left-footed centre-halves, but he was talking about how Barcelona press, and they press their centre-halves, they press your centre-halves right out to the flanks, and so he wanted a left-footer there, because if you try and cut inside against Barcelona's press and cut onto your right foot from left centre-back, they kind of eat you up. But he seemed to suggest, well, he didn't seem to suggest, he said outright he felt this was a much better performance than the one in Barcelona. He felt Arsenal had spells where they were not so much in control of the game, but felt that they were, comfortable with what Barca were throwing at them. But obviously Barca are just so capable of picking it up a notch. And that's what we saw several times. And to be honest, when it was 3-0 at half-time, I was really fearing the worst in terms of what the score could get to. And I probably would have signed off on 4-0 at half-time, to be honest. But, I mean, this Barcelona team, I think they'll do that to anyone. So big learning curve here for Arsenal. Not a disaster in terms of the group. They have one final game away at Hoffenheim next week. And because they beat Hoffenheim 4-0 at home, they just have to avoid losing the head-to-head. So avoid either losing 5-0 or 5-1 or 6-2 or whatever. So they should manage to do that and go through to the quarterfinals. And the good news is, if they do, they won't play Barcelona.